Hey guys, so this is just a really totally impromptu video. I'm sitting down here and just thought wanted to film this. As you guys can probably tell, I haven't posted in a long time. I have a good number of vlogs that I did film. I just haven't gotten around to editing yet. Life has just been very crazy. I totally expected to have edited these and uploaded them by now with the little break I had after last semester of school ended over Christmas break, but life was just so hectic, and then I just feel like I just get so like off track because I have all these old videos, but then I want to continue vlogging at the same time, so then it just piles and piles and piles and piles up. So I do have vlogs from Christmas and Kinley's birthday and a couple of days after that, I think, to edit and upload still, because even though it's past, you know, the actual day, I still definitely want to put them up because I really like looking back at them, and that's one thing that I've been missing, like having these vlogs to look back on consistently. So I do want to get better at it. Life, unfortunately, is just going to be very, very hectic for the next couple of months, so I really don't think I'm going to be able to do daily like I was, even though I wasn't really doing daily because of work. So I might just have to do a combined like 2 vlogs a week, like a couple of them combined, like maybe Saturday and Sunday in one, and Monday and Tuesday in another one. I honestly don't know, so I'll have to see and play it by ear, because this semester of school has started back up and it is going to be a really hard semester, let's just put it that way. And then I still have all of the house stuff. The house stuff is still going really well, going really smoothly. The sad part of this video is that unfortunately this week has been basically a week from hell. Let's just put it that way. And unfortunately on Tuesday, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through all of this and tell you guys this whole story right now, but I just felt like I just wanted to get this out there while my emotions are still a little bit raw and still a little bit fresh, even though it has been a couple of days, but it still feels like it was happened just this morning. Unfortunately on Tuesday, it started off as a really great day. You know, we got up fairly early. We got moving pretty early. We were gonna get out and we had to go to the new house to see the countertop guy. You know, they were gonna measure and everything, and just the day just turned to complete horror in probably about 15 minutes after I woke up. So I got up as usual, let Zoe out to go potty, and then started to try and deal with Kinley, you know, get her ready for the day, get some breakfast in her so we could get out the door fairly quickly. And she was just not having it. I honestly don't remember completely, but she didn't want to eat her breakfast, and then I was trying to get her dressed instead because she didn't want to eat. Then she didn't want to come in her room, and then Zoe was still outside, and Zoe doesn't like strangers, so she's not mean, but she doesn't like strangers. But, you know, technically I'm not supposed to let her out there off leash, but when I'm not out there, so I try to stay near the door, but I was trying to get Kinley ready, trying to get her content. So I ran back over to the door, ran back over there to call her. I could not see her. I did not know where she was, which is fine. You know, she does that all the time. Most of the time she goes behind the building to go smell some stuff over there. I could not hear her. I could not see her, and I was calling her, and I was mad, honestly. Like, and this is just, I was mad because Kinley was in the other room screaming her head off in her room because I left for a minute, and so I was mad. And I'm sure it sounded that way in my voice. So I was holding the storm door open and was holding the main door in the other hand, and the storm door once you let go of the storm door, it takes a little while to shut. It doesn't just shut because it's on a whatever pressure thing. So it started closing, and I've done this a million times before, and that's the thing that just absolutely kills me about this is that I went to walk away, so I let go of the storm door and I pushed the main door closed. But since I was mad, I pushed the main door closed a little bit harder than I normally would have. Normally I would have pushed it closed so it didn't actually shut all the way, so there was a little bit of a gap. So if Zoe came back, I could see her through the crack or hear her. So this day I pushed it closed and I started to walk away from the door to go tend to Kinley, and I just heard I don't really know how to explain the sound. Like the door hit something and then bounced back. And I looked back over and it was Zoe. So what had happened was she came around the corner, I guess, or from the back of the building or around the side of the building. I don't actually know exactly where. And she made it in the storm door before the storm door shut, but she didn't make it in the big door. She's done this a couple times before, but since I didn't push the main door shut as hard, she's gotten in. Or the storm door has shut, so she didn't get in at all, so she just stayed out there. So this time she made it in one but didn't make it in the other. So I immediately saw her there. She just was laying there. She just went completely limp. She was just laying there. It seemed like she was conscious, but she was just laying there. So I picked her up and I brought her over here on the ground, and I was bawling my eyes out, of course, and because she just wasn't responding. And I was just cuddling her and just yelling, and just out of not a mad yell, but just freaking out kind of yell, and just trying to get her to wake up, trying to get her to move, trying to get her to act at all like her normal self. And she just wasn't. And she was sort of gagging. She wasn't actually throwing up, but she was sort of gagging, and I could tell that her gums were really purple blue, and I could feel a heartbeat. I was holding her chest and I could feel a heartbeat. She did end up pooping a little bit when she was laying there, with, incontinence happens when certain accidents. So I called my mom, of course, bawling my eyes out, asking her to come over because we clearly weren't going to make it to this appointment. So she came over. She called the vet for me because I was just too hysterical to call the vet. And they had me bring her right over. So he brought her over, and on that car ride over, she actually seemed to get a little bit better. She seemed to be more responding to me a little bit. Her gums turned back pink, and her eyes were she started actually moving her eyes and looking at me, tracking me, and she seemed a little bit better. So she seemed a little okay. So, and my mom was thinking maybe she had a concussion. Maybe some people don't go, stay conscious when they have a concussion, but they can go, get dizzy or get lethargic or, whatever. So she was really thinking maybe that was it, and I started to kind of maybe think that could possibly be it, because I felt like she did run into the door. Remember, my back was turned, so I honestly really didn't see if she got caught in the door or if she just hit the door. She definitely stopped the door, whatever she did, because the door bounced back. So I was thinking maybe that could be what it is. So we got there, they took us back pretty soon after we got there and took her back. They took her right back to see the vet so he could see her, the technician did. And, sitting in that waiting room, my mom sat out there in the lobby with Kinley. Unfortunately, Kinley had to be there for all of this and see all of this and hear all of this. That's something that I wish as a parent I could have shielded her from, but I just couldn't in the time, in the moment. So just sitting in that waiting room, just waiting for this vet to come in, I'm honestly really not that big of a religious person, as I'm sure you guys haven't really seen any religious aspects of our vlogs or anything like that. We really don't go to church, but I was praying my heart out, sitting in that waiting room waiting for the vet to come back in. Just if there was any, even if she had to have surgery or something, just that she would recover. Just anything. So any glimpse of hope, any guarantee. So he came back in and he said that unfortunately, it definitely was not a concussion. She didn't have any signs of concussion. You know, her pupils were fine, everything was fine, and so what he thought it was, you know, he just examined her. He didn't do any tests or anything like that because she was in such, you know, it was an emergency basically. We needed to make decisions. Is that he thought that she fractured a vertebrae at the base of her skull right here. So that seems to probably follow more along with that she actually got in between the door, and that the door and then the wall went like that on her neck maybe, or at the base of her skull. So he said, you know, that's a vertebrae, you know, that's where the spinal cord is. So obviously she was paralyzed. So, you know, whether something was pressing on her spinal cord or whatnot, you know. So he gave me the option to take her to NC State Vet School, which is in downtown Raleigh, to have treatment there, to have surgery and then treatment to recover. But, you know, he said there was absolutely no guarantee that she would recover, or if she did recover, that it would be fully. She could be paralyzed for the rest of her life. She could just, you know, her quality of life could not be good. Her quality of life could be very, it just could be not good. And just, I don't know. So he gave me the option of doing that. He said he would call them, you know, and let them know we were coming if that's what I wanted to do, or that we could go the route of putting her to sleep. So I knew that in that moment, as soon as he said fractured a vertebrae, that I just knew that I couldn't do that to Zoe. Zoe was, just, even though she was almost 6 years old, she was just a puppy at heart. She was just so tough. She just loved to jump and play and run and just roll around. And I couldn't put her through all of that to know that at the end of the road that the life she would live wouldn't be to the fullest, or it wouldn't be fun for her, I guess. It wouldn't, I don't know. So I made the incredibly hard decision to just go ahead and put her to sleep. So, and they brought her back in the room, and I got to say goodbye to her. I got to hug her and kiss her and tell her how much I loved her. And Kinley and my mom came back in at that point. They came back in a little bit before that, so the doctor could explain it to her, because I just couldn't talk. I just couldn't try and explain this to her. So Kinley got to say goodbye, even though Kinley just completely did not understand what was going on. She was just totally traumatized. She was just very afraid. You could tell that she was very afraid because Zoe was laying there and Zoe was just not acting herself. So I knew she was afraid. She did say a little goodbye, but she didn't really want to touch her or kiss her, which I can't blame her. But she was just so confused. She didn't understand that Zoe wasn't coming home. So we hugged her and sat with her for a little bit, and then I gave her back to the vet, and then we left. I'm kicking myself over this whole thing just because of a couple of things. One, just because if I had waited a couple more minutes at the door, if I had waited a couple more minutes or not waited as long as I did, then the door would have been shut and she wouldn't have gotten caught. Or just the fact that I was angry. Just the fact that my anger, that's the last time she heard my voice. Or that's the last thing she heard me, was yelling at her. Was yelling her to get in the house. I honestly don't know. I didn't think about it till after. I don't know if she could consciously hear me at all. in the end after the accident. I don't know, because she was conscious, but I don't know if she could hear me or see me or anything like that. So her eyes were open, she was moving her eyes, but I just don't know. So she could clearly hear and see me crying and telling her I loved her and kissing her and hugging her. But just before that, as far as I know, the one thing that I'm just kicking myself so bad is that I didn't stay with her. If I could go back, even if I couldn't change the fact that this accident happened, I would have stayed with her. I would have stayed with her at the vet while they gave her the shot, and I would have held her and waited for her to go. But I just couldn't, because I was just so emotional. I was so hysterical. And Kinley was there too. My mom was there, but Kinley was there too. Kinley just wanted to be with me. And she just was so confused and so hurt and so sad. I didn't want to make her sit there and wait. But if I could go back, I would go back and I would change that. If I could just go back and change that one thing, because I just feel Zoe hated the vet. I mean, what dog doesn't hate the vet? But Zoe hated the vet. So I just feel so sad for her, because like I failed her somewhat. Because if she was at all conscious, or if she, I mean, I know she was conscious, but if she was at all aware of what was going on, of who was there with her, I just can't imagine just how scared she must have felt with strangers holding her, strangers around while she was passing away. And I just wish I could change that and have gone back and stayed and held her. But I can't. So it's just one thing that's just killing me about this whole situation. So that's how our week has gone. That's how Tuesday has gone. So after that, Kinley went to my mom's with my mom for a little bit, just because I just needed time to just process what had happened. Just be alone for a little bit, because how I was acting, Kinley was not crying or anything. She never really cried, because I think she was just so confused. But just seeing me cry, she was just very, very, very concerned, very worried. So just having a little bit of time to myself to be able to express my emotions freely. And I'm not saying I hide my emotions in front of her. She's definitely seen me cry this week a lot, but just in the moment, it was so new to me too, that this had really happened. So she went to my mom's for a little bit, and I came back here. She brought me home, and then I just had to process it all and think that if this was really real life, if this really had just happened. So, and the whole situation just happened so quickly. Like, from the time the accident happened to the time that we left the vet, giving them the okay to put her to sleep, I think it was about an hour. So the whole thing just happened so quickly, just literally. It just goes to show that life, literally as you know it, can change in a matter of seconds. Literally. So it has been an incredibly hard week, just without Zoe. Like, every little thing just reminds me of her. I still have caught myself going to call her or something like that, especially at nighttime. Like right now, it's the loneliest time, because Zoe and I would always cuddle at night on the couch after Kinley went to bed. So it just is so lonely. So I'm so heartbroken that she's gone, because I literally always thought that Zoe would be the dog that lived of old age, that died of old age, that she would last that long, because she was just such a tough little dog. I just miss her so much. She got me through some really hard times, and she was always there for me, even though it was only me and Kinley and her. she obviously wasn't another person, but she was just someone else there for me to talk to. She always knew when I was sad. She always knew when I just needed a cuddle. Just every little thing reminds me of her. And I look at that door and I look at the spot on the ground where I laid her, and I just think, like, she can't stop, like, just visualizing just how she looked, how she was. There was no blood or anything like that, but it sucks. It really sucks, because if you had a pet or a four-legged family member, then you know that they truly are another part of the family. They truly are a piece of the family and a member of the family. So that's what we have been dealing with. I did choose to get her cremated, so once that's ready, it will go. Depending on how soon it is ready, I will go get it or ask my mom to go get it, because I don't know if I'm ready to just go back there anytime soon. So it's been an incredibly long week. Kinley has definitely been showing some signs of being sad, hurt, and confused. She has just been very clingy. She's just been very off, is the best way to put it. She's been very wanting to sleep in my bed. She's just been off. We've had a couple of snow days here the last couple of days, so I actually ended up having this whole week off of work. So we've been stuck at home until yesterday, and she had an absolute heart attack when I wanted to leave yesterday, because I just felt like we needed to get out of the house just for a little bit. We were just gonna go to lunch. She had an absolute heart attack. You know, I even told her that she could choose what we wanted to do. Like, I listed off a couple of things. She had a heart attack. She did not want to leave the house. And I think part of it is that she hasn't been feeling the absolute best lately either. She has some sort of cold or something again. So she actually fell asleep while I was holding her yesterday when we had to stop by the new house to approve something. She actually fell asleep in my arms while I was holding her, talking to the contractor. And she has not done that in at least 1.5 years. So I just know that she's off, that she talks about Zoe. She continues to ask where Zoe is. Yesterday was the first day that we were out of the house after this happened. And after we get home in the evenings, or any time after we get home, it's Kinley's job, or what Kinley does is she goes to the crate to let Zoe out. And just seeing her walk over to the crate yesterday after we got home and just looking so confused and so hurt in her face, I could just see in her eyes that she didn't know where her best friend was. Just seeing her look in that crate and not see Zoe, and just looking around the room and just thinking, where's my best friend, or where's Zozo? It just killed me. And I think that's one reason why this hurt so much for me too. Even without the Kinley factor, I was extremely close with Zoe, closer than I have ever been with any other pet that I've had. So I know that's why it really hurts, but I think also why it hurts so much is because of Kinley, because I know how incredibly close Kinley and Zoe were. They were literally best friends. They were just... Zoe absolutely loved Kinley. Zoe loved Kinley so fiercely. And Kinley loved her back. And Kinley included her in everything. Everything we did, Kinley included Zozo. She's going anywhere, she wanted to bring Zoe everywhere. No, I will never forget that about her. I always thought that was the funniest thing. She always wanted to bring Zozo everywhere. She didn't understand that Zozo couldn't come certain places because she was a dog. She thought she was that important or that big of a family member, which she was. And just... So... I'm not exactly sure where we're gonna go from here. We're definitely gonna be taking time to heal, time to try and process this more. It's really hard having a toddler and dealing with grief this early on. I've been completely open with her and explaining this to her. You know, tell her, you know, Zozo got a boo-boo, and initially I asked her what happened so I could get it from her instead of planting something in her head about what happened. And she said, you know, Zozo got a boo-boo and went to the doctor, which, you know, she did. And then I used the word died because that's what happened, you know. I don't want to lie to her. I want to be honest with her. I want to have an open relationship with her. And she was also there. She saw the entire thing. So I did use the word died, and she just didn't get it. She was very confused. And then the next day I used the word died again, and she totally freaked out. She just yelled at me and said no. So I don't know what that was about. I wasn't really sure how she was gonna take the word died, because the only other time I've used the word died that she's related it to is her iPad dying. So, and clearly with her iPad, she knows that we can just plug it back in and it will come back on. So I'm not sure if she thinks that's still gonna happen with Zoe. In one aspect, I think that she thinks that Zoe's still just at the vet, that she's just still there, and we're gonna go back and get her. Because earlier in December, Zoe did go to the vet for just a day to get a teeth cleaning, and Kinley was with me, and we did just drop her off in the morning and pick her up in the evening. So I don't know if Kinley thinks that we're still gonna go back at some point and pick Zoe up. So it's been an incredibly hard week. That's just basically, it's just been an incredibly hard week. It's just, something's missing. Someone's missing from our life, you know? It's just, so I just got the card in the mail tonight from the vet, and I just bawled my eyes out yet again at this. So it's just a card basically about them giving their sympathies about Zoe passing, and that they made a donation to the Veterinary Care Foundation in memory of Zoe. So that's basically how this week has gone. I'm not exactly sure what else to say about it. That's about all I've got for this video. I'm sorry that it's been kind of depressing video, but it's been a very depressing week. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or any tips on how to deal with grief in a toddler and how to try to better explain it to them, then I would very much appreciate that. I did pick up a book tonight about dog heaven, so I'm gonna hopefully try to read that to her tomorrow. But once again, we are not very, very religious, so we really don't talk about God or anything like that, and the book does touch on that, so I'm not sure that she's gonna really understand it. So I'm gonna try to find something to do for Kinley for a remembrance of Zoe. Personally, for myself, I am going to get a piece of jewelry or something like that. For Kinley, I'm gonna get something else that she will actually like and use and love, because that has been the one part of this whole situation that I've seen Kinley be Kinley. Is that with pictures of Zoe. When she sees pictures of Zoe on my phone, because I've had a couple of pictures of Zoe edited that I will put at the end of this video. When she sees the pictures, you can see that light in her eye again. You can see that spark of happiness in her face. That she just loves the pictures. She will hold my phone, and she has literally hugged and kissed my phone, the pictures of Zozo. So, hoping to do something for her like that. So anyways, guys, that's all I have for you tonight. If anyone else who has lost a pet, you know, months ago, days ago, weeks ago, hours ago, I'm very sorry for your loss as well. I know just how painful it really is. So we will see you guys in our next vlog. Bye.